The AFC West has basically been a one-team race for the past 8 seasons. The Kansas City Chiefs have been dominating this division since Peyton Manning. That's as long as 2 presidential terms. Each year, there are usually 2 to 3 teams in each conference that make that jump into the playoffs, and that obviously means 2 or 3 teams that do not make the playoffs from the previous season. And we're going to predict how this division, along with all the rest of the divisions, play out by breaking down each team and what they've done in the past year. We'll have our predictions 1st through 4th place in each division, and I want you to comment the same. Comment 1st through 4th place in every video of the series and see if you can beat me. Good luck, and let's get into it. Starting with the team that finished last in the division, the LA Chargers. The Chargers were 5-12 overall with a 1-5 division record. LA is a plus 320 pretty much everywhere you look to win the division, with their over-under total wins at 8.5. And naturally, before we can get into any game predictions or division predictions, we have to take a look at their additions and their losses in the offseason. And let's start with their losses on offense, because it's a lot. First of all, they lose wide receiver Keenan Allen to the Bears. Keenan had played with this franchise since 2013, racking up 6 1,000-plus receiving yard seasons, totaling more than 10,000 receiving yards with this franchise. The Chargers also lose one of the most electrifying running backs in the league, Austin Eckler. He goes to Washington. Even their backup running back, Joshua Kelly, is no longer with them, which indeed is a massive hit, and they're taking a massive gamble at running back, which we'll get to in a second. But they also lose another top wide receiver in this league in Mike Williams. He joins the Jets. Now, Mike Williams has only played a full season with the Chargers once in 7 seasons with the Chargers, but the talent is undeniable, and it is there. Not only that, but they lost their center in Will Clapp, and they also lost tight end Gerald Everett, who I'm a fan of Everett, but it looks like they'll be okay without him. On defense, they lose both their linebackers in Eric Kendricks and Kenneth Murray, and then also the DB Michael Davis, who between the 3 of those players is 6.5 sacks and 12 passes defended, with over 150 total tackles missing from last year's stats going into this year. With that said, let's now look at the additions along with the draft picks. Now, I don't want to make it seem like it's all doom and gloom in LA, especially when we consider this division. In free agency, they were able to add both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, who ran for the Ravens. And just in case you don't know, Baltimore's very good at rushing the football. And J.K. Dobbins, when healthy, is a very solid running back. That's going to be the key, though, is keeping JK healthy, as we haven't seen it very much. They also have a few tight ends they can roll with now, as they picked up Will Dissly, and they also picked up Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst coming from the Panthers after 1 season. The Chargers were 25th in rushing yards per game last season on offense, so I would say J.K. Dobbins has a chance to play a massive role in the success or failures of the Chargers. Now, on defense, they brought in defensive back Christian Fulton, who came from the Titans, which is a big thing for me. Now they have another DB to play alongside Samuel. They got Denzel Perriman from Houston, and they also got Troy Dye on the team. 2 linebackers, and linebackers they are in crucial need of because of the losses of the linebackers, like we mentioned earlier. And their rookie linebacker just got hurt, although I'm not sure of how serious the injury is. Drafted out of Michigan as well, who I haven't mentioned yet, but Harbaugh, the head coach, also coming from Michigan, a national championship team. Well, I highlighted all these changes because this team is going to look so different than it has last year and the year before. But the change could be a good thing, as in the last decade of Chargers football, they only made the postseason twice. And in that, there was only 1 playoff win. Justin Herbert doesn't have a playoff win yet. Last season's statistics were not really great at any category, except they were in the top half in passing yards. And with Herbert at quarterback, that's probably going to happen even without Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. The wide receiver core now consists of Joshua Palmer, McConkey, and DJ Chark. PFF gives them the number 22 overall defensive line, and I actually think it might not even be that good. In each of the last 2 years, Joey Bosa played in less than 10 games. And even with all of this change, with that said, I do not see the Chargers getting last in the division. Now, I don't really see them winning it either. Yeah, it's possible, of course, but I'm going to say they don't get first or fourth. I'm going to put them in second along with the odds makers. I think as good of the season as it could get for them is like 11-6 because they do have a pretty good schedule. And I am going to predict that this change is not ready to beat the Chiefs yet, so they are going to lose 2 to the Chiefs. And I think a split with the rest of the division would give them a 2-4 division record. And I'm going to give them a 7-10 overall record. Placing third in the division was the Denver Broncos. They had an 8-9 overall record, and they were 3-3 in the division. The Broncos have by far the worst odds to win this division, a plus 1,800 on DraftKings and a plus 2,000 on FanDuel, and also the second worst overall win total in the entire NFL at 5.5. Let's go ahead and take a look at the losses first, as the Broncos are also making big changes as they strive to try to find the quarterback that can stay with them for the future. First of all, Russell Wilson is now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Other than Russell Wilson on offense, the defense is where it took a huge hit, and the defense wasn't great last year. Anyone remember what happened when they played Miami last season? Yeah. Granted, the Broncos got much better as time went on, but it was an absolute train wreck in that first month to month and a half of the season last year. Justin Simmons probably being their biggest hit. He had 3 picks for him last year, and he was one of their best defenders the year before as well. They lost Kareem Jackson. They also lost their linebacker Jewel, who had 108 total tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 passes defended. So, Patrick Surtain and Allen are the 2 best defenders that they were able to keep. Who were they able to add in free agency though? Well, they did get John Franklin Myers from the Jets. He and Allen will possibly be the 2 best defensive linemen that they have. And they did also get cornerback Levi Wallace from the Steelers as well, which is a nice solid addition. The rest of the defense is going to get a lot of opportunities. Some of the guys that didn't get to play that much, who got a little bit of playing time, but not a ton. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered here on the defense, or it could possibly be even worse than last year. I'm trying to figure out a way. I'm not trying to shit on your team. We have too many question marks, and generally that means a team is a year or 2 away. Now, there's always surprise teams, and Denver could be one of those surprise teams. If Bo Nix comes out and just starts slinging it, they're going to be hoping for guys like Baron Browning, the linebacker, to make a giant leap, and same with guys like McMillan. Denver did beat the Chiefs once, but against their division, they only averaged 17 points per game in those 6 games. Outside of their division, they averaged over 23 points per game, which is basically a full touchdown more. We are entering the second year of Sean Payton, and there does seem to be a lot of optimism for Bo Nix. They were also able to snag wide receiver Josh Reynolds from the Lions, who could end up being a big impact player for them. And hopefully wide receiver Tim Patrick is healthy and ready to go. T's and B's to Tim Patrick. I do imagine they'll run it a lot with Javonte Williams, and Samaje Perine is a solid backup who can also catch very well. PFF gives the Denver Broncos the 31st ranked defensive line and the 15th ranked offensive line. I'm also not a big fan of their schedule either. I don't love the way that things start out for them at all. 3 of their first 4 games are on the road, or 1 home game being for Pittsburgh. And as we know, Pittsburgh travels well. They are in the right division to get 2 or 3 wins from the division alone. But their last 4 games are also brutal on the schedule, against the Colts, at the Chargers, at Cincinnati, and then home for Kansas City. I like them to go 6-11, but I'm not overly confident on saying yes to the over 5.5. And I like them to get last in the division, but I do think there's a scenario here where they get 3rd, and a slight one where they get 2nd. Well, I think at best case scenario, they finish with 9-8 and they finish 2nd in the division. Ever say 0% chance, so there's 0.01% chance of them getting 1st. Second place in the division was the Las Vegas Raiders. They were 8-9 overall, but they were 4-2 in the division. You can generally find them at plus 900 or plus 1,000 to win the division, with their win total at 6.5. Starting with the running back, the running backs have switched all over the place this season. Josh Jacobs is gone. He is now in Green Bay. It's up to Zamir White and Alexander Madison to make up for that, and that is going to be tough. I'm going to be real with you. Madison pretty much proved that he is a backup running back last season when he was given the starting job in Minnesota last year. And the Raiders are bringing a lot of their defense back while also getting to add on to it, like taking defensive tackle Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins. Wilkins has played in all 17 games for the last 3 seasons, and he had 9 sacks last season. Add him alongside superstar Max Crosby, linebacker Robert Spillane, you gotta like this D-line. PFF has this Raiders defensive line ranked at number 9, and I have to say, I do think this is around the top 10 defensive lines. Number 19th ranked offensive line according to PFF though. In the Raiders draft, in their first 3 rounds, they drafted 2 offensive linemen that could help them produce as early as this season. They also had a beast of a tight end drafted in Brock Bowers. I actually think that I like the way this team is constructed, and I like this team's roster more than I like the Chargers roster, except for one position, and it just so happens to be the most important one, and that is quarterback. Raiders fans, I can see a lot of room for optimism if you're looking past this season, because as long as you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a Super Bowl, especially in this day and age. Like, we all know that. If the Raiders had a quarterback like Justin Herbert or right around his ranking, I would like the Raiders over the Chargers pretty much every time this year. And I'm not trying to dump on Aiden O'Connell, but I have him ranked 31 out of the 32 starting quarterbacks this season. I'd be playing Gardner Minshew over him. Maybe that will happen, but when does it happen? Does it happen after your season is basically over with and Devontae Adams wants out of there? He's lasted longer than I thought he would for sure. But as it stands, this is a very nice wide receiver trio, and then you add in a very highly rated tight end to this. You just have question marks at quarterback and running back. That, unfortunately, on offense is 2 huge pieces though. Starting in week 7, they will have to go to the Rams, home versus the Chiefs, then you go to Cincinnati in week 9. Week 10 is the bye week, but week 11 goes to Miami, home for Denver, then at Kansas City and at Tampa Bay, playing the Chiefs twice in about a month's period time, with only 2 of those being home games. This defense is solid though. This is a defense that's going to be able to keep teams like the Chargers and the Broncos down at times. There's plenty of potential for them to hit this over 6.5 wins, especially early. There's winnable games against the Chargers and Carolina. So I'm going to give them a 2-4 division record, but they've got potential to be 4-2 again in this division like they were last year. And I'm also going to give them a 7-10 record. I'm giving them the same exact record as the Chargers, but the Chargers beat them on a tiebreaker. It really could go either way with the Raiders and the Chargers, in my opinion. And now that just leaves the team that has gotten first place in the AFC West for the past 8 seasons, the Kansas City Chiefs. They were 4-2 in the division last year and 11-6 overall. They've got the best odds out of any team in any division to win their division. And rightfully so. You can see them in the -230s to the -250s all around. They're also tied with the 49ers for the best wins total over under. Now, Chiefs fans, I'm going to give you your due time just like I gave to everybody else, but let's be real, you're going to win this division. One of their weaknesses last season was the wide receiving core, and now they brought in Hollywood Marquise Brown, who really, that's the best wide receiver they've had since Tyreek Hill. And now they've got Xavier Worthy as well. Rashee Rice was really came into his own last year. And of course, you got Travis Kelce, Noah Gray at tight end. A very good offensive line. In the AFC Championship game, they gave up no sacks to the Ravens, the sack leaders of all year last year. And they did lose some key defenders this year, but their offense is going to be even better this season. It may cancel that out, who knows, but these are some big pieces. Willie Gay, L'Jarius Sneed, and safety Mike Edwards gone. So they'll be looking to guys like Leo Chanel, who was there for all 17 games last year and the year before it, so he's homegrown there in Kansas City. 65 total tackles and 3 sacks last year. Another guy that they'll be looking to is safety Brian Cook. Like Chanel and Karlaftis are coming into his 3rd year with the Chiefs from the University of Cincinnati. I'm sure they think that George Karlaftis will take yet another leap. I'm a Bengals fan, but I cannot dislike the Chiefs. They've got too many Bearcats on the team. Yeah, so the defense should take a step back, at least in the first few weeks where they play the Ravens and Cincinnati without a few of those key guys that they had last year. But we can all expect that the offense will be better, especially better in the regular season than it was. This is going to be an absolutely laser-focused team that knows that they can set history by being the only team to three-peat. I really want to go with a clean sweep here. I really want to take the Chiefs to go 6-0 in the division. You know what? Screw that. If I can't name it, they're going 6-0, damn it. Let's face it, everyone in this division, aside from the Chiefs, are pretty much unproven. Alright guys, there's my predictions. I have the Chiefs winning the division yet again. The Chargers placing 2nd in a tie-breaking victory over the Raiders, and the Broncos in 4th. Make sure to comment your thoughts and predictions on the AFC West and all the divisions we will be predicting in the future from now until the season starts. Make sure you have your answer in one comment though. Multiple comments and edited comments will not be taken into this competition. But until next time guys, you'll catch me in the next one.